Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the European crossover webinar. And we are seeing the equities on the bid here. We're actually seeing it, the Nasdaq right here, pretty key area here. Also on the weekly, you can see here right here at 92.21. Right here, still kind of pressing higher here, and on the SPOOs. We've actually gone past the 61%, past this 2880. Take a look here. Right here, same thing with the Nasdaq, which was a key. I think I meant to say on the Dow is also coming up here at the bottom of right here, 2889. And take a look here at the Russell also. Real quick jump up to 2890. Well, it's going to be close to 2893 here on the SPOOs. Right here, pressing up here, 2890. And on the 30-minute, we've got this 2893 or 2894. See if the market wants to ease back a bit from here. But we've really seen a pretty good push here in the morning. Still a little ways away from the 78%. But keep a little area here, right here, 2890.40. As we look into the calendar, there's not much there. You can see here, the only thing we have is NHB housing market. That's the only thing we have. And as we roll into Tuesday, employment figures out of the UK and zoo numbers out of Germany are going to be the only things in Europe. See how we react to this 2894, 93 area. I'm trying to take a little shorter on this area here. And let's take a look also at crude oil. Crude oil's had a pretty good run up in here. Look at this run up here in crude oil. We were starting the Asian session at $30. Now we're up here above $31, or challenging right here at $31. And gold's had a pretty good little run up here. Look at this run here in gold. And of course, like I said, crude oil pressing up here at $31. Quite the move. And let's go and take a look here at FX. Euro's still relatively quiet. Dollar still staying pretty steady on the bid, and pesos has weakened. Dollar yen's relatively quiet, and the cable. Remember, we're looking for. Actually, I'd say Monday, but it's actually since Tuesday of last week. We're looking for that 21.21, and we got it. So we'll see how they react up in here. But still relatively quiet here in FX. We'll go and take a look at the news. Dollar firms on China tensions and negative rate talks sink the pound. The dollar held its ground on Monday as concerns about global tensions with China overshadowed improving sentiment from easing coronavirus lockdowns, while talks of negative interest rates pushed the pound to an additional 2-month low, or almost a 2-month low. As Italy announced plans to lift travel curbs next month and parts of the United States emerge from lockdowns, in a boost to stocks, growing tensions with China and Europe, the United States and Australia have forced currency traders to raise their guard. The dollar was a touch firmer against the range-bound Japanese yen. The greenback was steady on most of the Asian currencies after gains last week. After a basket flat against a basket of currencies, Trump administration's move to block chip supplies to Huawei Technologies is the latest Sino-U.S. flashpoints with markets on edge for a response after China's Global Times newspaper flagged possible retaliation. Australia has also run into trade issues, while the leader of the European Union's largest political alliance is pushing for a temporary ban on Chinese takeovers of struggling firms. The Australian dollar firmed slightly after Australian Finance Review newspaper reported conciliatory remarks from China's foreign ministry, but remains stuck under 65 cents. At the fore of the market participants' minds is that we are seeing that China's tensions just ratcheting higher, so there's been support for the U.S. dollar on the back of that, said Commonwealth Bank of Australian FX analysts. Also, comments last week from Fed officials around the risk to the U.S. economy being skewed to the downside, risk around a second wave of infection. I think they'll also continue to improve or underpin the U.S. dollar this week. U.S. retail sales crashed 21% on year-to-year basis. 20 million Americans lost their jobs, and Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said, with a long road recovery, even under the best of circumstances, in a televised interview on Sunday, for the economy to fully recover, we'll have to be fully confident, and that may have to await the arrival of a vaccine. The pound declined its lowest since late March after a week of deadlock with the EU over post-Brexit trade, and the Bank of England's chief economist considering negative interest rates on the Saturday interview. The economy is weaker than a year ago, and we are now as effective lower bound, so that in sense it's something we'll need to look at, are looking at, and somewhat greater immediacy, he said to the Telegraph. How could that not be? So with that, we'll go and take a look into the analysis. Like I said, as usual, it's just another quiet night in FX overall, as we come into Asia. Or rolling into Europe. Bear with me. So the euro continues to defend the weekly level of 776. Intraday support will be 756, with a daily close below 776, allowing a challenge to 657. Resistance will be 863. A daily close above 893 will signal a short-term bottom is in place. So for right now, it's going to be 756 on the lower end. And resistance will be 863. Let's go and move into the cable. Like I said, this euro is just pretty much dead in the water, other than the moves we've seen, but the very short-term moves. But this market just does not want to go anywhere overall. So cable reached the week's target, or I should say last week's target of 21.21. The pair continued its slide to 21 even. Support will be 20.62, followed by 20.29, which is actually the 50% of this range, 14.09 to 26.49. Resistance will be 21.96. So support 20.62. And resistance 21.96. So the Aussie took a slide on Friday, choosing to go in the opposite direction of equities. The pair will be open for a challenge of 63.18 with initial support at 63.56. Resistance will be 64.64. And moving on to the Kiwi. So the Kiwi finished the week near key support amid worries of bond supply. The pair is set for a lower test of 58.23. Initial support will be 58.82 with resistance at 59.74. And moving on to the dollar CAD. So the dollar CAD continues to flirt with 140. The pair is in a wait and see mode, and the pair needs a daily close above 41.50 to generate sustained upside momentum, which would take it to 42.82. Support will be 39.84. So we're going to go 41.50 for the resistance. And support's going to be 39.84. Really, these majors, they're dead as can be. I mean, there's not really any real action for the most part going on some of these. I know for small moves there are, but I mean, just not seeing a whole lot. So the dollar peso stays close to 24 cents, like a moth to the light. A daily close above 24.38 will open a challenge to 24.96. Support will be 23.52. So we're looking for 23.52 on the support side. And we did say up to 24.38. But that'd be a daily close. So we're going to stay with this 24.28 for now. And moving on to the dollar yen. Another pair that's just dead in the water, or another major that's dead in the water. With the exception of cable, obviously we got some moves in cable last week, and but a lot of these pairs are just against the dollar really quiet. So the dollar yen is stuck in the mud. The pair refuses to join the surge in equities. Resistance will be 765. With support at 661. So look at this. We're just not even moving. This is on a daily, and the range is was it 20 pips? And support is 661. So no change on the support. And moving on to the dollar. So the dollar index closed higher on Friday, but could not muster a challenge of resistance, which is at par 80. A daily close above par 80 will send the index to 102. Support will be 99.65. So once again, look how we're just not even moving. I mean, you would think this is a 5-minute chart maybe. So the low's par 28 and the high is par 41. So you got in a 13 pip or 13 tick trading range. And the par 80 is going to stay. And that covers the majors. I mean, yeah, there's just no movement, so there's not a whole lot to analyze on. We're just going to move on into the cross rates. So the QEN finished the week on its lows with concerns of bond supply. We did mention that for New Zealand. Downside move to 61.75 is expected with initial support at 62.70. Resistance will be 64.04, so we're still looking for this to go and move much lower. Placing a hold right here, the 63.41, we are looking for a more extensive move. At least for now. Hasn't broken down yet. Actually go with the lows right here. We haven't broken it. Everything's once again still quiet. At least for now, we'll go with the 63.08. And on the upside, with 64.04, we'll go with that. Keep it intact. And onto the Euro Yen. Euro Yen closed Friday with a medium-legged doji. You can see it right there. The pair's unwillingness to move higher. The pair needs to close above 1658 to generate any upside conviction. Support will be 1528. And support will be 1528. So the euro is attempting to pick itself up from a double bottom. The pair needs to close above 70 cents to secure the successful formation. The initial resistance is going to be 69.13 with support at 67.09. We had a decent close on Friday, but you can see here we're just kind of stuck in the mud now. Resistance, as I said, is going to be 69.13. We are trying to put in a little bit of a double bottom in here, but we'll need to close above 70 cents for that to be successful. So the Euro Kiwi closed the week above resistance levels 82.17 as the Kiwi lost its luster with bond supply woes. The key resistance level above to challenge is going to be 83.40. Support will be 81.40. I don't know about this. Like I said, this euro is just. Well, we did make it up here to 82.50. We closed just right at this level, but that's where it's going to take to get up there. And there's the 83.40. Almost seems a bit of a challenge, but once again, I'm surprised Kiwi is holding up overall. But it's going to be 83.40 looking further out. And let's go move into the Aussie Yen. So the Aussie Yen slid back on Friday, closing just above the key level of 68.69. Support to start the week will be 68.43. A close will below will open a challenge of 67.03. Resistance will be 69.25. So we're not too far away from that right now. That's going to be resistance. And we're looking for support to come in at 68.43. Once again, it's a real quiet session overall. And let's go move on to the guppy. So the guppy broke and closed below key weekly or weekly level 30.38. The market will be targeting 27.22. Initial support will be 29.19. Low so far has been pretty close. 29.25, so pretty close to the support. With resistance at 30.68. So the sturdy knot broke lower on the close of the week. Immediate target and support will be 87.86. Just looks like, looks like we already made it there. With the potential to 86.55. Resistance will be at 89.32. So we had 87.86 as our support. It's already, that was the immediate with the potential to 86.55. We've already tagged that. We're actually riding on that right now. So we'll stay with that 86.55. And let's see. And resistance, really just a low from last week, which can be 88.43. That's going to cover it. I mean, FX is pretty dead in the water to a certain extent. I mean, a lot of these pairs. We can go and take a look at crude oil. We've just gone past the 61% here. Right there, be key, which is 31.56. Was basically called 31.51. That's what I'll try and shoot for. Or they should have some supply come in right around that 31.51. But this has been one heck of a move back. I would think we found some decent supply here. Take a look at the gold market. $17.80. Should see a little bit of fight there at the 1780 area. And we saw that equities still keeping a pretty firm bid. Take a look at the Nasdaq. Press it up against that 92 area here. This 92.21. This level right there comes in at, yeah, 92.21. Now this is on a weekly. That's why it looks like it's key weekly level there at 92.21. Daily above the 92.17. There, 92.42. Resistance right there. Pretty key right there for the NAS, 92.42. Still keeping the bids up. And SPU, same thing here. Coming into that area here. Saw it here on the 30-minute at 28.94, but they're still keeping the bid up. And take a look here with the Russell. Big level's going to come in right there. 1298. And 1295 right there. See if they can make that push. And with the Dow right up in here, which is going to be 23,952. So we'll see how we hold up, but they're certainly keeping a bid as we still a little ways before we get into the U.S. session, but still keeping that bid up in here. But that's all we have today. Like I said, relatively quiet here in FX, and thanks for joining us here on the European Crossover webinar.